All right, y'all, welcome back to Friday Productivity. You may be saying to yourself, I hope Jason's gonna say, like, hey, you've earned a break for Thanksgiving holiday, unplug, take a lot of naps, Netflix binge. But sadly, I'm not. Because the primary reason is that how we finish determines how we start. And this is one of the most opportune times for both, I would say, easy executable action items, but also content, specifically lifestyle content related. It's just so many things you can do. And I've taken a bunch of notes with a ton of ideas, and I'm going to try to deliver those ideas on this call in an orderly fashion. But there's just so much you can do, so many great ideas. It's hard to narrow down that list. It's going to be hard to prioritize them. So I would be watching this video, taking notes, going back and using my notes that I provide with the call as a resource, and just start thinking about stuff over the next, I would say, 24 to 48 hours. Think about some things you can that are on this list that you can actually do, that you can actually start preparing to do. All right. Not that you'd like to do or, you'd hope to do or you wish you could do, but things you're actually going to do that speak to you. So a big part of, I would say, old school communication and even new school communication through content is both are very much rooted in authenticity. So, what sounds like you, what fits your personality? For example, if your family has a recipe that's been passed down for generations, but you hate it, maybe not create content around it. Or if, you'd like to do a little cooking show on how to prepare it, but you've never prepared it yourself before, it's always been made for you, it could be a flop. But if it's something that you've learned to make, that you cherish, that you love to eat, it's a labor of love preparing it, it's going to be a big hit and people are going to go bananas for this content on social. It's going to get a lot of engagement. You're going to get a lot of questions, and who knows where it might lead. Now, in terms of content, it's like strange to me that we're still having to hammer this so hard in our industry. But I just want to remind everybody that according to NAR research, this is not according to me, but according to NAR research, social media has become the number one lead generator for the top producing agents across the country. And I'm just going to change that up and refer to it not as lead generation, but opportunity generation, because leads suggest that we don't know who these people are, like there are non-Mets. But this is actually a very, I would say, synergized way to engage with your sphere of influence and not have it be in a salesy way, right? So let's think about all the stuff that's going on right now, all the Christmas markets that are about to open up and kick off, all the holiday events, holiday parades, just so many things to get geared up to do, in addition to things you should already be doing, like preparing an end of the month data report. I would be preparing to, put together a year-end data report showing the trends over month and from, quarter to quarter and from start to finish, right? And really let people know, like, what did 2025 look like from a real estate sales perspective? When was real estate at maybe its peak in terms of pricing? Where were the best deals found? What were the factors that maybe held real estate back or led to a real estate surge in your marketplace? Because all markets are different. Not all markets are created equal. So no matter what's going on the national conversation, the local conversation could be a totally different story. All right, let's get into it. The first thing I want to talk about today is becoming your holiday connector in your community. All right, so here's an idea that you can just take from this call and implement it right away. What are the top 10 things to do in your area Thanksgiving week? What are the top 10 things to do in your marketplace, your zip code, the real estate market you serve. What are the top 10 things to do in your area for Thanksgiving week? People often like to know what's going to be open on Thanksgiving Day. If you don't want to cook, where's the best place to go to eat? And a fun place to do that, that some people do traditionally is Waffle House. But where can you go get the traditional holiday meal and maybe rank them by quality of food? Maybe you have a past experience. Maybe you're reading reviews on Google, Facebook, Yelp, wherever, and you're figuring out where those places are. Now, should have mentioned this before we got started, but use ChatGPT, use AI to help you come up with this stuff, help you identify this stuff, and would even be better if you reach out to the local businesses themselves. You can message them through Facebook and say, hey, I'm going to feature your restaurant in some content I'm doing this week as one of the top places to eat Thanksgiving dinner. If you don't like to cook, give me some details to put in here to make it more relatable, more relevant, and more informative to my audience. That would be great. So that would also give you an opportunity to tag those local small business owners in the posts or posts to create instant engagement, right? To build favor with those business owners. I mean, people tend to want to reciprocate this type of stuff. So keep that in mind. Number two, how do you engage with your sphere of influence and make it fun and low pressure? Create these holiday conversations. Could have been doing this. This would have been a great thing for me to maybe include last week. But where are people going? Are people traveling for the holidays? What's their favorite dish? Like I'm trying to come up with a unique dish this year. I need some ideas. Or, if you know that people are going on a trip, send them a text. Safe travels. Can't wait to hear about the trip when you get back. Looking forward to talking to you. Just plant that seed that you're going to call because you want to hear all about their trip. Now, for those of you who are a little bit more passive in the way that you prospect, this is a great opportunity for you to send text messages and DMs about, you know, a range of topics. So this is one you can rip off and duplicate right away. Just text this word for word. What's the one Thanksgiving side your family would riot without? Like your family just, if it was not served, I mean, it would just create pandemonium at your Thanksgiving dinner table. All right. And some of this might be hilarious and might give you opportunities to screenshot some of the responses, redact the names. If you feel that's appropriate, you could easily do a reel or a TikTok going, hey, I reached out to my sphere of influence. Maybe you're one of those people that sends out mass texts, and this would be a great topic or a great excuse to do that. But you might get a ton of responses, and you might put together like a top 10 list of responses you got, most hilarious responses you got from this exercise. So the other thing to keep in mind is that holiday engagement is very effective with any algorithm, no matter what platform you're on. So this is content that is highly sought after and highly rewarded. Okay. So hopefully, as I'm going through these, you're like, man, that's a no-brainer. Or why didn't I think of that? Or more importantly, am I overcomplicating this whole exercise? Okay. This whole exercise of staying top of mind through email, through calls, text, DMs, through content. Most of the time, what I figure out is that people massively overthink this to the point that they do nothing. Right. So I should be laying out some things that are piquing your interest, that sound like you, that people won't be surprised to see this coming from your social media platforms, coming from your mouth, your body language. Everything's going to be in sync because something I am speaking about today is going to resonate with you, which means it's going to resonate with your audience. Okay. All right, number three, film a simple holiday cooking video. Again, I mentioned this in the opening. If you don't cook, this is not a good idea. But if you love to cook, this would be a great opportunity for you to showcase, your grandmother's, famous dressing, the secret mac and cheese recipe that's been in your family for generations. that sweet potato casserole with the bougie pecan topping, whatever it is, like you've got some secret apple pie recipe, this would be a huge hit. And I would highly advise if you're doing a 60-second, let's say, to 2 or 3 minute short video, that goes in your YouTube shorts. If it's a long form video, even better, make that a video. Maybe take the long form video and make it into a series of short videos that you share on social and through YouTube. So many opportunities there, but this is a great way to show your personality, showcase your interests and maybe your talents outside of real estate. A lot of people love to cook. Most of us love to eat. So this is a great way just to connect with people on their level because it is so authentic to you. All right. So this is a way to build trust, you know, so and you're not speaking real estate talk. You're not talking about the data, the numbers, the interest rates, the days on market, all that stuff that typically tunes people out if they're not in a buying or selling cycle. So if the consumer's not in a buying or selling cycle, they really don't care what's going on in the real estate market. Okay. So this is the kind of stuff they do care about. And who knows, this content could be shared and whoever it's shared with, I mean, we know it's going to get likes and comments, and that's going to open you up. So every time somebody likes your post, it creates an opportunity for that post to be seen outside of your audience. So for you to grow your following, to connect with people you've never connected with. So it's just a win-win all the way around. All right. Number four, it's time to start prepping your client appreciation touches for Christmas. I think the simplest thing to do is if you do, especially if you do a Christmas photo and you're sending out those Christmas card photos. Is that right? Anyways, like most people get so many of these, they have a collage of them on a wall somewhere or a cork board. These things get put up and visual, and they're just a great touch. People love to send them, they love to receive them. So that would be a super easy way to connect with your peeps over the holiday season through the end of the year. You can write a little personalized note on the back. Of course, you can do handwritten notes. Big, big win, especially if you can let people know show your appreciation for maybe some way they helped your business this year, some way they showed up in your life as a friend. Maybe they gave you some great advice this year. And like the super overachiever realtors will just subtly include a QR code, saying, hey, if you want a market update over the holidays on what your house is worth, scan this code. All right. So wouldn't shy away from doing that at all, especially if you're spending a lot of money on, a really nice piece that you're sending out. Number five, host the 12 Days of Christmas giveaway. Before I get too deep into this one, what opportunities in your local marketplace are happening for you to give back in terms of like turkey giveaways, Operation Christmas Child, Toys for Tots? Find ways to serve and find ways to connect people. We talked about that holiday connector, connecting other people with ways to serve. But here's some things that you could do, like some giveaway ideas that you could do going through the holiday season. Gift card giveaways to local restaurants, cafes, bakeries, tickets to holiday events, local bakery, cookies or pies. There's some great local shops out there that do a great job. This is one of my favorites. We've got a lady in my neighborhood that does holiday candles. She makes them in her basement. So it's a great way for me to support her and giving her a good reason to support me, shining a light on something that she is doing and then connecting people in my neighborhood and beyond. It's just such a big win. So, of course, when you are doing this, you ask people to share a post. So, how they enter to win one of these giveaways is share a post or maybe sign up for your newsletter. Who knows? There's a lot of different ideas that you can kind of come up with. And it's really good to tie it into local businesses, gift cards, gift certificates to restaurants, things like that. And a lot of times, you're going to have to go pick it up from the small business, and there's going to be an opportunity for some face time there. Just a huge win-win. Number six, holiday pot buy survival kit. So I know there's a lot of super successful agents that love doing pot buys, high giveaways, so many things that you can do, but things that really, really hit hard during the holidays, anything to do with like cinnamon or cider. What's that thing? I'm trying to think. Oh, wassail. So maybe you've got a wassail recipe, you're dropping off some wassail, but cookie cutters, recipe cards, cider packets, maybe you've got an ornament that you have made with some branding on it. Of course, hot chocolate, anything s'mores related, it's all going to be huge. So just remember that people remember thoughtful gifts, gestures during a busy holiday season. So just letting people know you're thinking about them is huge. But if you drop a recipe card off and you're like, listen, trust me, make this recipe this year. I guarantee it's going to blow everybody away. And so every time, you know, they get a compliment on how good that dish was, there is going to be, if it is not top of mind, it will be, if it's not conscious, it will be an unconscious connection to you. And there will be this law of reciprocity, this giver's gain, this pay it forward mentality. You get what I'm trying to say. All right, number seven, film a holiday home tips reel. Now listen, this is something we could really have fun. So if you are a person who is humorous by nature. All right. So we need to find our lane. This is how we're going to win big with this stuff is finding your lane, finding your voice, finding your unique talents, tapping into those to create content that is so relatable that it creates a massively high level of engagement. So think about all the disasters and all the videos that will be shared from prior disasters of people dropping a frozen turkey into a vat of boiling hot oil. So maybe you can do something on how to avoid frying turkey disasters. Some people just suck at Christmas lights, and maybe like if you do this amazing holiday display, record it, create some content while you're doing it, give tips and tricks and hacks on how you do it. I know it blows my mind. I'm like, how do they get all this stuff wired in and synced? It just, it hurts my brain. But if it's in your wheelhouse, man, it's going to be huge. I love this idea. Where is the best place locally? Where is the best local Christmas tree shop? Where have you always shopped for Christmas trees? Ask people where they shop for their Christmas tree. Where's the best local place to buy Christmas trees? That's an easy one. You could do a top 10 list with that one if you didn't want to do, or top five if you didn't want to single out one specific location. And then I think this one would probably be last for a good reason, but there are people that, do have their homes on the market and maybe need some tips for showing their home in, peak holiday season. How do they deal with that? How do they accommodate people during the holiday season? I mean, this is a big reason why people don't want to put their houses on the market because they don't want to have to vacate the residence with the cats and the dogs and the kids and all of it for a showing, especially when it's, snuggle time on the couch. So be a resource, not a salesperson. And this is an opportunity for you to not only put out some very valuable content, but make people smile, make people laugh. Number eight is going to be holiday photo day for clients. My wife is a mortgage lender. She's partnering with her favorite title agent, and they're doing Christmas photos with Santa. This is going to be the second or third year in a row they've done it, and it's a huge hit. So you hire a photographer for 2 hours, serve 20 or 30 families. It's going to equal instant referrals. But I mean, you could do this at your favorite Christmas tree farm, right? And then maybe provide some, get with them and get a discount code so they can come get their picture done with Santa, and then they get 10% off their Christmas tree. Man, what a huge win-win. And then you don't have to worry about, creating, a holiday backdrop and things like that. You can kind of lessen the work. But a lot of downtowns have really nicely done holiday backdrops. So just there's some leverage you can find there. All right, so number 9, we're getting through this. Hang with me here. Run an end of the year home checkup campaign. So this is a text or email out to your sphere of influence and just say, hey, get in touch with me over the holiday if you want a 10-minute equity check before the year ends. No problem. So low pressure, high ROI. This is a great way to start January and February fast with listings. Who needs a quick equity check before the year end? No brainer. All right. Number 10, create a winter buyer advantage post. This is one of those things that's super easy to do, and it's a way to stand out because I would say the vast majority of agents, when they are having a conversation with somebody who is having thoughts of selling and they're saying, yeah, but we're going to wait until after the holidays, we're going to wait until well into the new year, probably into February, early March. And we know that is typically peak season. That's really the kickoff of peak season in real estate. And so there's more competition. So, create a graphic, create a video, and let your sphere of influence know, put everybody on notice who's having conversations around selling in 2026 that now is the time for less competition, motivated sellers, faster closings, and better negotiation terms. Okay. Number 11, set up your 2026 client events calendar. So what worked in 2025? Did you do any client events? Which one were a bust? Which ones were a huge hit? This could even be related to like your mega agent open houses. Did you do one where you had, a lot of food prepared? Did you do one where, maybe you had a giveaway? What brought people through the door? What created the most engagement? I love having food. I love cooking food at open houses, wine tastings, wine and cheese, charcuterie, bringing somebody in to cook, making it a cooking class. There's so many things you can do. But what was the biggest ROI so that maybe how can we make that event better? But if we didn't do any events in 2025 and we know that's something we need to add to our 2026 calendar, is it back to school pop buys, that have, some school supplies and some cool stuff for the kids? You know, are you too far behind the eight ball this year to do a pie, giveaway for this holiday season? Maybe you could do it for next holiday season, a summer barbecue client appreciation event. So many things to do. I would especially add this one to your list is just doing some sort of mom, like if you're a female agent, you should be always trying to serve and service the moms out there. So maybe, you can do something before school lets out, or maybe you have an end of the year party for moms and kids, and maybe I don't know, you've got a pool, you rent a pool, you putting something together for the kiddos would be huge. December is a great time for planning, building, and getting prepared so that you can implement. All right. Now, this one is our last one, number 12. And I don't know, it's hard to pick a favorite from the list, but I really think this one is super intentional. It has an emotional aspect to it, it humanizes you, and it also helps people relate to you, helps you build trust with people you don't know yet. This is going to be like a virtual business card that is hopefully going to be shared, but I know it's going to create a ton of holiday engagement. And that's just to create a video, point your camera, your phone at yourself, hit record, and talk about what you're grateful for, what you've been grateful for this past year. Of course, you want to, you know, prep this, script it a little bit. It will be authentic, even though you just want to have your thoughts together. You don't want to get on camera and just, you know, ramble. So you want to maybe, I would do it in front of a whiteboard, set the tripod up in front of a whiteboard so you can look at the whiteboard and just stay on track. Maybe there's just bullet points on there. Here's the people I want to thank. Here's the local businesses that supported me. I want to thank my home inspector. I want to thank my referral partners, specifically these folks who have just shown it for you big time. So many opportunities for you to thank the people that stepped in to help you, maybe with transportation of your kids so that you could show a house. Dig deep on this and really think about the times this past year when you've been most grateful for your circle of influence. That is your support system. And, of course, if you had a record year, who is that attributed to? Who really stepped up to help you, whether that was providing leverage or whether that was providing referrals? What was it? Tell the story. Storytelling is the most compelling content out there. All right, I hope I have done a decent job of laying this stuff out for you and haven't been too all over the place. I tried my best. I hope you guys have a great Thanksgiving holiday. If you need me, don't hesitate to reach out 251-583-9728. Thanks so much.